Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
There's no words for it. It's a baby and it's so hard.
First at 6:30, the Siletz community grieving tonight after the sheriff's office says a diver has discovered the body of 2-year-old Dane Paulson in the Siletz River. Good evening and thanks for joining us for NBC 16 News at 6:30. I'm Alan Matthews.
And I'm Gold Meadows. This comes after 11 days of searching for the toddler who went missing from his yard.
Hundreds of searchers, divers, canines, and community members have been looking for the boy since March 1st with a focus on the river. Now, the man who found him is with Angels Recovery Dive Team. He drove up from California to volunteer. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says the investigation is ongoing, but right now there is no evidence to suggest criminal activity.
Last year was a historic wildfire season in Oregon with nearly 2 million acres burned across the state. Today, we're getting a better idea about what's ahead for this year's wildfire season. The Northwest Interagency Coordination Center just released their monthly wildfire outlook for the Pacific Northwest. It looks at fire weather conditions in Oregon and Washington over the next several months. This month's outlook ranges from March all the way to June, June being one of the months we start to see those heat waves and fire conditions worsen. John Smoltenberger, who has worked at the NWCC for 40 years, says they look at precipitation, temperature, drought, and other variables when making these outlooks.
So for April, May, the rest of March, April, May, and June, we just don't see anything unusual in the Pacific Northwest that would cause us to be alarmed at excess potential for large cost fires, at least through the end of June. It may be a different story as we get into our next outlook, which will look at July.
He notes that the Climate Prediction Center is indicating that much of the western United States is looking at another hot and dry summer, which is something to watch out for as it could shape fire season. The Department of Education announced yesterday investigations into 60 universities over claims of anti-Semitism. On that list is Portland State University. The department says the universities violated Title VI of the Civil Rights Act by not protecting Jewish students, including unobstructed access to campus facilities. The letter comes almost a year after pro-Palestine protesters occupied the campus library at PSU. PSU is the only Oregon university that appears on the list.
Well, the arrest and threat to deport a Columbia University graduate for protesting in support of Palestine has students across the country calling for his release. Free Mahmoud Khalil! Free Mahmoud Khalil! This was the scene today outside Johnson Hall on the campus of the University of Oregon, where students and faculty rallied to support Mahmoud Khalil. Khalil is a Palestinian immigrant with a green card. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents arrested him on Saturday, where he waits to learn whether he will be deported or allowed to stay in the U.S. His arrest has sparked discussion about protections for foreign students and green card holders against deportation. But protesters at the University of Oregon today say it's not just immigrant students who need protection.
We are here to defend Mahmoud. We're also here to stand with our own students, many of which have been targeted through the code of conduct process, who have been threatened with suspension and expulsion, as I mentioned. Students on our campus are experiencing repression from this administration about regarding their protected speech activity. And it's important that particularly students, but also faculty and staff and community members come together and stand against that.
The White House said today that Khalil was distributing Hamas propaganda, but the Associated Press says Khalil hasn't been charged with taking part in terrorist-related activity, let alone convicted. A federal judge has blocked Khalil's deportation while it considers a lawsuit challenging his detention.
Well, bad news on the employment front for Oregon. The state's unemployment numbers for December and January have been adjusted upwards. The 4.3 and 4.4% respectively. That's the highest it's been since September 2021. The biggest losses were in manufacturing at close to 7,000 jobs lost from January 2024 to 25. The one sector showing the most growth is healthcare, adding more than 15,000 jobs during that same time period. The national unemployment rate is sitting at 4.1%. Scorpion Creek Ranch, in the works since 2022, says it now has an approximate time frame for opening its haven for homeless youth. I spoke with the nonprofit's founder, who says with partners and investors coming on board, they'll help Lane County teens beat homelessness for good.
Lane County Human Services estimates 5,000 homeless people in the county as of February, and hundreds are youth under the age of 18. By this winter, Katie Brown, founder of Scorpion Creek Ranch, says the one-stop shop for homeless teens in the county will begin shaving those numbers.
When the idea came to me, it was such a big project. I didn't know how to start initially, but I did know that I couldn't turn my back on it.
Brown says a deep dive into the mental health system due to her sister's schizophrenia led to years of research into youth homelessness. She volunteered at Hosea Youth Services for a year, but she says teens needed more.
There isn't anywhere close to enough help for these kids. I mean, they're going to be struggling likely for their whole life if we don't give them the resources and the support that all human beings need. A safe bed every night, nourishing food, education, support, community. This is what children need if we expect them to be able to be stable, happy adults.
The SCR team held a community gathering in Springfield in January, bringing together the mayors of Springfield and Eugene and community members. Now, with more investors at the table, there's a push to get the project done next winter, which means reaching a $6 million goal.
Between my husband Ron and I, we know a lot of people in the community that are interested and want to be a part of activities that are helping our area. Teach them skills that are going to make them, better community members.
SCR would be home to up to 20 teens at a time in rural Lane County. Brown says Lorraine is a primary location considered for the ranch to temporarily remove the triggers of urban life. Once open, the aim would be turning the pilot into a scalable blueprint.
The spike in homeless youth cannot be ignored, and we cannot expect these kids to find what they need in systems that were built for adults.
During a teen's 6 to 24 month stay, they'll attend classes on site. SCR has secured partners to provide teen referrals like Looking Glass and Connected Lane County. 19-year-old Amaya Varble says she's navigated homelessness since 16, but is now under Brown's mentorship.
I think that she's definitely helped me feel more grounded within myself. Going through homelessness, you're stripped from a lot of the necessities that people are granted access to, like food, water, housing, being warm. I stayed at a church for 2 years. I lived in a car. It was a really bad period of time for me. She's gonna help so many people in their lives and create a foundation. It's not going to be a foundation just for them to survive off the bare minimum.
The first cohort on the ranch, under the guidance of Pasquarelli Construction, will build their own mini cottages to live in. Brown says she's confident they'll be fully privately funded.
And SCR does have limits on the teens it will accept, with teens heavily addicted to street drugs, those with severe mental illness, and those with violent tendencies or sexual assault records being prohibited. Moving now to weather with a live look over Eugene tonight. Alan Matthews has a first look at your forecast, and it's going to be a lot of wet weather ahead.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of rainfall ahead, especially over the next couple of days and then again for the upcoming weekend. But the good news is it's not going to be nonstop rain. We will see some breaks in the rainfall. Let's show you what's going on right now. 55 degrees in Eugene, and I know it says showers there. Still not seeing reports of any rainfall hitting the ground outside of the Newport area. A south-southwest wind at 7 and our humidity at 57%. Again, take a look at the radar satellite. You see the area of green. Right now, a lot of that, though, not hitting the ground. We are seeing that cloudy sky, though, and we should continue to see that cloud cover tonight as the rain will progress. Now, we do have the winter weather advisories that will be in effect for the Cascades in Douglas County starting tomorrow morning at 5, running until Thursday morning at 5. Looking at about 2 to 9 inches of snowfall there. And then for the Cascades in Lane and Lynn counties, that starts tomorrow evening, runs until Thursday night. Could see 6 to 11 inches of snowfall. Now, keep in mind, this is just round one. As we get into the upcoming weekend, these advisories actually could be winter storm watches or warnings, because we are going to be looking at more precipitation for the upcoming weekend. We'll talk more about that with your full forecast in just a little bit.